Hi, this is Torley. I'm glad you could join me. I'm going to be showing you how to res, that means bring into the world, furniture, which very typical scenario. Good thing to learn as part of Second Life basics when you're setting up a home, a store. So first of all, you'll need to open your inventory. That's where all the stuff will come from. And you should be on your own land or land that you can build on. Otherwise, it might show a warning up here. You right click and you show parcel properties. There might be a thing saying you can't build. So click it and drag it. You may already be familiar with resing, but always a good thing to know because you notice the cursor has a little plus, which means you're going to add it into the world. If it's a copyable object like that, it won't disappear from your inventory. But in this case, let's go ahead and I'm holding down the Alt key. Camera controls are really good because you can click to zoom. If you're uncomfortable with keyboard coding, as it's called, you can use view here. And this will also offer you the camera controls that you can zoom in and out via that way. All right, just take some time to get used to that. Kind of like a cooking show. Let it simmer. So now that we've got something out in the world, you may want to just hide that sidebar so it doesn't take so much space. And you want to right click it and choose edit. What you're going to be editing here is not necessarily attributes of the item, but you're going to be changing the position with these arrows. So you can click to adjust like that. And it's in 3 dimensions on a 2-dimensional monitor. You can also click these on the edge here to snap it to the grid that appears. If at any time you want to change how the grid looks, that's this little arrow here. It's a little easy to miss, but then you can change things like you want to make the grid rougher. So turn that off and then see, now it moves a lot more rougher. It doesn't snap so finely. You can try those things. Or if you want to make it a lot less intrusive, there, see, it's a lot more transparent. Anyway, I know that's easy to miss, which is why I called it out. Now, another way you can position things within a region is you can use these little arrows here for really fine coordinates. This is great if you have, for instance, shadows or you're trying to line something up against a wall. Like even this pictures here, if you want to tilt things and you want to put them pretty close to the wall but not going through, that's a good example of that. Now, also note you can rotate if you needed to, like this. It's kind of like anti-gravity. And like in Second Life, there are often different ways to approach the same goal. So if you click rotate here, this changes those move controls to freewheeling ones that you can spin around like that. So if you want to move the chair, let's do the goal of getting the chair here into the corner. I'm just using the camera controls, holding down the Alt and Control like that. That's why I can do that. And then for example, I was going to go back to move like that. And if it gets a bit off your screen, then you can hold down Alt again, click and zoom, see to change your perspective. Just take it nice and easy. Like anything, this kind of thing comes with repetition. After you've moved thousands of things like I have, I'm not saying you have to do that. You'll probably get it much quicker than I ever did. Dun, 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 and just down like that. And notice it gets a bit tricky there. So I want the wheels to be close, but not so close that they go through. So I'm holding out Alt again, moving in, and Alt and Control. I used a lot of that chording. There's also Alt, Control, and Shift, which you may have seen in another camera tutorial of mine. This is panning. And then you can easily start dragging or just clicking this down here. These things are called spinners, the little arrows. And that's pretty close. A lot of cases you won't get it exact, but it will be pretty close. And let me just get a little fancy there. Click and drag, and notice in the wall there, we don't want it to go through the wall. And click in here. Ah, close. And then again, click Alt and zoom in, and Alt and Control to orbit so we can see how it is. And that's pretty good. We could continue to tweak. You can take all day to do that. Consider what is pleasing to you. And there we go. So you've positioned a piece of furniture in his house or your store. Congratulations. Just be relaxed and mellow about it. It's not good to be high stress because sometimes you can lose stuff. Stuff flies through the walls and ends up on the other side like gosh knows what. It gets pretty crazy that way. One thing that you can also do, if you hold down Control like this, when you're not in that build mode, you can reposition objects as well. This tends to be a more loosey-goosey way to go about it. Some people prefer it, some people hate it. Let me show you why, so you can be well informed. You don't want to do this by accident because you'll, well, inadvertently misplace stuff. So if I hold it down, notice it turns into this grabby hand. And when you click and drag it, now you can reposition like that, but it's a bit trickier. It can be trickier depending on your usage style to determine which planes is it going to move on. See, like I thought that was going to move it straight, but it's not moving it straight. It's but that's because the store itself, I think, I actually don't know if it's an angle, which makes it even more confusing. That's part of why you just want to be careful if you do elect to. Otherwise, stay away from using Control to grab. It's sort of a historical thing in which sometimes it's used in in-world games where you want to grab objects and throw them into a box. And there are other creative usages for it, but I personally, this you may differ, YMMV, I personally prefer to use edit like this because then I have the greater precision, but I can paint in broad strokes if I need to. So have fun setting out some furniture wherever you live or work in Second Life.